strengths to enamel if you use the right ones, XTR or clear fill, and you'll have higher dent and bond strength. So there's plenty of indications to consider as 6th generation. And what I'm trying to tell you today is do not use 7th generation. Simply said, stay away from simple. Because simple may be simple, but when you have to replace that restoration for free a week later, it ain't that simple. So watch out for that. So that's just a bit on adhesives. We're going to spend the next few minutes on bulk fill technology. And this is quite interesting. Bulk fill, the idea of bulk fill has been around in dentist minds forever. We love a bulk fill. We just love to keep it simple. And really the biggest concerns with bulk filling is always polymerization shrinkage and the stress generated by the curing process. So when you talk about bulk fills, that is always, or should be always, at the forefront of your considerations. What about this shrinkage, and what about the stresses brought to bear on the tooth? So Kerr has been looking at bulk fill technologies. They've got a long history of producing exceptional composites and bonding agents, and this is really their niche. And Kerr is owned by Danaher, a very large company that also owns Cavo handpieces. And when the companies, when Danaher bought these many different dental companies, they charged them with coming up with joint products between the different companies. So what you see is a product called Sonic Fill. And Sonic Fill is a bulk fill technology delivered by a handpiece. And I understand at the university you've got a few of these devices. We've been using them now for a year. We did their initial in vivo study, and I'll explain to you how that went in students' hands and what the results we got were, and they were quite impressive. But Sonic Fill marries a handpiece and composite together, and it delivers sonic energy to the composite, which changes its handling characteristics. So Kerr used the Cavo couplers, a handpiece and the composite, and marry them together to deliver the material to the tooth. They did the composite design on their premise platform. The same composite technology they've used for years, they used to design the composite for Sonic Fill. And in doing so, came up with something that is as strong as any competitor on the market. What that means is it's got enough strength to put it on the occlusal surface, more than a lot of the composites out there. Too many of the other bulk fills that are on the market aren't strong enough to withstand occlusal loads. So a product like SDR from Dentsply is only indicated for the first 2/3 of the preparation, and then you must overlay the occlusal surface with a conventional composite. Why? Because they recognize that the material isn't strong enough to withstand occlusal load. So Kerr said, we don't want that. We want a product that you can put in load and work. So they developed the Sonic Fill. In addition to that, they got the volumetric shrinkage down to 1.6. And you'll see bulk fills in the market could shrink upwards of 3%, some at about 3.2%. So by controlling the shrinkage, they decrease the stress to the tooth. And they do it quite well. So the interesting thing about this is their shrinkage is the same as premise, their grandfather composite, and the same as a Herculite, their other composite, very low shrinkage. Why? Because they use the same technology in designing this composite. The interesting thing and the difference here is not so much the resin per se, but it's the glass. And the glass in Sonic Fill allows for light transmission to 5 millimeters. So all of your bulk fills will have relatively high translucency, meaning when you look at them, you can see in them a bit better. The reason you can look into these products a bit is so that light passes through them. If they were opaque by nature, you could never get a 5 millimeter depth of cure. So SDR and all its counterparts in the market, including Sonic Fill, are slightly translucent. And that's to allow light to penetrate to get a full depth of cure. So what happens with Sonic Fill is quite unique. And I'll talk about it just briefly and bring up a video. But Sonic Fill, when you deliver sonic energy to the composite, basically liquefies. You take a rigid composite and you're going to liquefy that through sonic energy. So the composite under sonic energy loses almost 90% of its viscosity. It becomes very runny. And as you back the energy off the composite, it starts to flatline and then it returns to a stiff state. So sonic fill allows you to do that. Now at the university we did studies with sonic fill. We did a blind study with 50 conventional restorations and 50 sonic fill restorations in 100 patients, and had independent evaluators look at them at 3 and 6 months and then again at a year. And what we found with sonic fill is 100% retention, no sensitivity. We were using our conventional bonding agents. No sensitivity, no failures, no marginal staining, and not a single x-ray with a single void. The way we ran the study was quite interesting. The students had never seen the product before, never used it, never practiced with it. We handed them a Type-It-On, said, here's a tooth, put on a matrix band, be ready to go. Here's the device, snap it on, screw on your composite, push the rheostat, fill the tooth. When you're done, smooth it off and light cure. So they practiced on a Type-It-On, and they immediately went to a patient. One shot. They couldn't practice twice. And we wanted to see how this technology would perform in a beginner's hand. Well, the results we got were quite fascinating. And I'll show you some of the radiographs. There's an upper first molar with an MO, sonic fill restoration, no voids, beautiful contours, beautifully sealed. There's a lower second molar. We even tried it on a third molar, no problem. We went over and did another first molar on the other side. We picked 50 posterior restorations that would challenge the students. Not a single open contact, not a single open margin, not a single void in any restoration. No sensitivity, no loss. We were shocked at the results. I wasn't one of the evaluators who was standing by and letting my researchers look at this, and I said, that is outstanding. And it's that that led us to say that there may be a place. There may be a place for some of this technology, especially when the patient is challenging. You can't keep them dry. You need to be in and out very quickly. Pediatric applications are huge. Why? Because the kids are squirming around like a tiny little mouse, and you want to get in and out. So this material has worked out quite well. Can I tell you it will last 5 years? No. Nobody has the research on any new product to tell you that. I can't tell you that. What I can tell you is at the year mark, it looks identical to what we've done conventionally for the last 15 years. And that's very promising for the future. In 5 years, I'll be able to come back and tell you exactly what it looks like in 5 years. But I can't do that at this point. Well, the god of dentistry spoke again. Gordon Christensen got a hold of all of the bulk fill technology. If you want to read up on his opinion of the bulk fills, look at his January 2012 CRA issue. And he talked about the bulk fills. He brought in a lot of information on the bulk fills and really discussed them in depth. Looked at some of the pros and cons of the bulk fill concept. And of course, you recognize that stress is a potential problem. Voids are a potential problem. All these things we do chairside are potential problems. When it came down to the end, and Gordon always gives his recommendation, the first product he listed in the bulk fill category was sonic fill. What that means for sonic fill in the States is it'll do okay. When Gordon says you're all right, and you got his endorsement, you're good to go. So what I'm going to do is just very quickly, I'm going to switch over to this video camera, and I will do a sonic fill restoration very quickly live here. After we're done and after the question and answer, both of us will be up here. If any of you want to come up and sample it and try and fill a tooth. When we did the study with students, we timed them, how long it took them to place a restoration. The fastest was 8 seconds. 8 seconds in MO and 8 seconds, done. The slowest was about 1 minute and 30 seconds. And they were really taking their time. You'll see that that is almost impossible to do. So when we go to this product, So Rowan's going to turn on the compressor. You'll hear that. A couple of things. The handpiece simply snaps onto a coupler like this, And if you notice here, there's a number, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And that's the speed at which the composite is expressed through the device. So beginners generally start at not 1, but 3. And you very quickly graduate to number 5. So when we place on the composite, what we simply do is we'll take the composite and we pull off this little red piece, like this. We'll take the composite into the handpiece, we'll push this on, and we're going to engage the threads, and we screw this into place. Tighten it nice and tight, and we'll remove this. At this point, the handpiece is ready to go. On the left is